All right, welcome, my bows and bow ties. All right. I want to welcome you to another chit chat with me. I'm the Black Opinionated Woman, also known as a bow. So today, I didn't get a chance to have this conversation yesterday because my kids were losing it, and they're losing it again today. Uh, I'm trying really hard not to go there. So let's see if I can get through this. Um, So, yeah, we're going to talk about why Black parents should travel with their kids. If you're new to my channel, I talk about three things: Black women, Black culture, and middle age. Um, Man, it seems dark because the way the sunlight is. And do me a favor, can you turn the light on right here? Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll work until. All right. So anyway, yeah. So I talk about Black women, Black culture, and middle age. And so, if we're talking about middle age, I like to talk about things maybe that's in reference to how your relationships change, whether it's in a marriage or with friendships, with siblings, whatever. I'll talk about things like body aches. I'll talk about things like career related, whatever. But today I'm going to talk about Black culture. So you should have selected this thumbnail. And let me tell you, when we are at the airport, me and my crew, this is kind of what we look like. Maybe not as many colors, but this is what we look like. We have a whole bunch of luggage. So we typically bring enough luggage as far as for all of us to have our clothes, and then probably one really, really, I don't want to say empty, but one luggage that doesn't have much in it, because invariably when you're traveling, you may purchase something, or you may want to have, just leave it right there for right now. You may want to have something where, like, let's say you have some leftover dirty clothes and you haven't had a chance to like wash them. We put them in one of their luggages. But anyway, so if go ahead, subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more from me, okay? Because I'm trying to get on this platform more often. I'm trying to hopefully get on here 5 days a week. So it doesn't always work out that way. All right, but let's get on into it. So why Black parents should travel with their kids? Now, let me say this. I'm probably going to take a couple of judgmental body blows, and I deserve them, okay? Because I feel like I might be slightly judgmental. So, where's this coming from? Oftentimes, I would see people who look like me who have a couple of dollars, a couple of coins. Um, they're well put together. They dress nicely. Their hair is well coiffed. All those things. And then I noticed that their children have on the latest gear, but either they're a little bit on the dumb side. Now I say that tongue in cheek. It's like there's a disconnect. Just stick with me. Hold on, let me just put my little banner up. Um, Go ahead and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. Give me a thumbs up. What I see a lot of times is like a lot of Black parents will do two things, and this doesn't mean all of them, okay? So if it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. So I need you to get all the way out of your feelings. That's why I said people are going to get upset. What I see is that Black parents will spend a lot of money um, on their cars, on their shoes, and then they won't pour money into their children's education. I believe that traveling is also part of the education. I will see Black parents go on vacation all the time. Now, I know a lot of Black parents also who take their children, but I hear Black parents talk about, yeah, I'm going out of town, doing this and I'm doing that. And I get it if you need like a weekend to yourself. But what I'm finding is that they don't take their kids. They spend a lot of time on their personal grooming, but they don't take their kids. They don't expose their kids. And I'm like, we have these children, and raising children, it's really hard, okay? Now, what you don't know before I got on this app was I just yelled at my kids because there was verbal altercations going on. There's some tattling, and all I wanted to do was finish my shower and you put on all of my smell good, right? My lotion and my perfume and my facial moisturizer and stuff like that. You know, I'm not always like the best parent, so I lit into most two of my boys. Raising kids is hard, but if you're trying to do it right, it's going to be hard and it's going to be expensive. So I like to getting back to the travel thing because I know I kind of like digress for a second. Um, I just see parents, I hear about parents, they'll say things like, yeah, we're going on vacation, but it'll just be like the mom and the dad. Now, most of the people that I would probably rock with, they take their children on vacation. But people kill me. They're like, they don't take their kids on vacation. Now, don't get me wrong. My husband and I, once in a random blue moon, will do something for ourselves, but almost all the time we take our kids on vacation. Now, the importance of this is because I really do believe when you put your children on planes, it is a world class education. I said what I said. It is a world class education. There's the learning through heuristics, right? Those are the things like those are the rules of thumbs. Those are the things that aren't like written down, right? But you just learn by doing. Like my children know how to travel. They know what travel day looks like. They know what travel night looks like the night before. They know how to make sure that, okay, we're going to get on this plane. I make sure they have the right clothes. I don't really even, I just physically put their stuff in the bag, but they understand. I'll say, go get me 3 of this, 2 of this, blah, blah, blah. They bring the stuff back. I'm like, nope, 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 send that back, bring me this. And once it's packed, they know, they understand when we go to the airport, they know each one of them are to grab a bag. My job is to get the tickets from the ticket counter. My husband's helping with the luggage, right? They understand that when they have to pack a book bag, a backpack, they understand that, look, this is the thing. You're old enough to take care of yourself on certain things. So they know they need to pack whatever device they need, whatever charge they need. If there's a portable battery, they know they need to do all those things. They know the night before they need to charge it. I tell them also to bring a book too. They know they got to pack a sweatshirt because airports get cold. And my whole big thing is I'm like, once we step outside of this house, you don't get to complain to me about not having anything to read or anything to do or anything like that, right? But they already are being conditioned on how to travel. They understand that airports can be cold. So they know they need to have a sweatshirt. We're going to start with just that, just normalizing how to travel so that they're not brand new, normalizing how to get through security checkpoints, how to, whatever, getting on a plane or whatever, right? The first time I traveled, as far as that I could remember on a plane, because most of my travel when I was younger was in the long car rides. We've done those too, right? I had just turned 18. It was the end of my freshman year. No, I was 18 years old, and I was on my way to China with my school. I didn't even know that there was assigned seats. I thought it was kind of like first come, first serve. I was just going to sit down. They were like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm sitting in my seat. They're like, I felt so stupid because my family never exposed me to getting on a plane. I was always in a car. But this is the thing about putting your kids on planes and getting this world class education. Let me tell you something. They will learn a lot through heuristics, through observation. There's the stuff that you can teach, and then there's the stuff that they learn. When you land somewhere and they're seeing other cultures, they're hearing someone speak something else. They're seeing living conditions sometimes. Let me tell you, even just going to the Caribbean, I remember we took some cruises and I made my children, we took a tour of one of the islands and we got in this so-called taxi cab for a large family and we so-called air conditioning. The air conditioning was basically the wind because their air conditioning wasn't even working, right? And we had a beautiful tour of the island. And my kids saw like the real deal of where like there's what's presented to tourists and there's what's behind the scenes. We're not talking about the edge case where people who are wealthy. So my siblings, my children, they're seeing certain things now. They're not talking. They're just observing. And so at the end of the tour and everything like that, everybody's sweating it out and everything. So everybody's cranky. I'm like, hey, you think you would want to live here? No, why not? I'm like, you think you would want this particular car? Now, I'm not teaching material goods, but I was trying to teach them about reliability of your air conditioning, trying to teach about, hey, do you want to live in a place like this where it looks like the house is falling down? Now, not every place looks like this in the Caribbean, but there were teaching moments as we were touring the island and they saw a disparity of living conditions. You can find that here too. But the thing is, just with my kids, getting access to try different foods, hearing a different language, seeing different customs, looking at the clothing or whatever it is. See, I find that a lot of black people that, there's multiple things going on with that. Number one, a lot of black people will say, "Oh, I travel," and they think traveling is like limited to the Caribbean. I'm like, I need you to get your passport stamped. I need you to really stretch your legs. I think they are many of them. Oh, no, you're going to have to wait. You should have been down here earlier. Many of them, I think, have a fear of really traveling farther than the Caribbean. Okay. Some people think traveling, honestly, is going from the northeast to the southeast or something like that, going to Florida. And I'm not saying that that's not traveling. And I know that this is going to come off as tone deaf. I'm willing to receive that. What I am saying is there are black people who won't even stretch their mind, they won't stretch their imagination. So they're not stretching their kids' imagination. I really do believe black people need to have. I'm talking about black Americans now. I'm having a level of specificity in this conversation. They need to travel with their kids, especially the ones who like to talk the silliness about like, yeah, we have a hard knock life. I'm like, have you seen what real poverty looks like? Have you seen what real luxury looks like? I think with my children, it's really important for us to give them new experiences, different lands, different people, a different tongue, different foods, different customs, different experiences, different toys, different candy. Okay. We try to normalize travel in our family. Now, I do understand that not everyone is capable of doing it, but there are people who are capable. And what I find is that some of these black parents are so self-centered. They're so concerned about their looks, their car, their everything, and they're not concerned about their children, whether it's giving them a world-class education, exposure, whatever it is. Several years ago, someone had mentioned to me, like, "Hey, I noticed that your kids aren't always rocking the latest gear." Now, my kids do have some nice things, but for the most part, my kids get regular stuff. Like, honestly, stuff comes from like Old Navy, Aeropostale. I mean, they have other stuff too that may come from Under Armour, Nike, whatever. I don't know. Do you understand what I mean? The point I'm making is that comment was made to me, and I kind of felt like, what the heck is that supposed to mean? What are you doing? Just wait, please. And I was like, well, what does that mean? They're like, yeah, I know that your kids don't wear the latest gear, but I mean, it seems like you guys travel with your kids or something like that. I'm like, that we're not teaching labels to our kids, although they have labels, right? We don't teach that to our kids. Our kids aren't perfect. What we're teaching is how to be a good person, how to be productive in society, how to save your money, uh, know who Jesus is. We're teaching about travel. We're teaching you need to be educated. We need to travel more with these kids. I don't think enough of these kids are traveling. They're not getting exposed. You'll get some of the best education by getting on a plane. You'll realize how small the world is. You actually start to understand geography better, right? When you fly to a place and you're like, this is where we are. Like, we always make sure they know where they're going. We say, hey, this is where we live, and this is where we're going. This is where we are right now. Maybe we have a layover. One of the places we went to last year was, so I think we were on a plane a lot last year. Well, I know me. We flew from the East Coast to the West Coast, right? So we hung out in San Francisco. My husband had lived out there for about a year or so, way when in his younger days when he was, fresh out of college. So we spent time in the Bay Area, and then we saw some fireworks. And then the next day we got on a plane and we flew to Hawaii. Spent time in Hawaii, came back to the Bay Area, and then spent a couple more days, and then we came home. And then I got on a plane to visit a friend in Texas. Then we went to Hilton Head. So we went down there, we spent some time there, and then my husband and I, we went to the Caribbean. Now, I wanted to take my children to more places, but last year was when things just started opening up, okay? So there's certain places we really couldn't go. There's a lot of limitations, so we had to alter plans. This year, we're going to do something different. They will have to get their passport stamped. We just think it's important for them to see what other people look like, other Black people, other white people. What is it like to live in this side of the world, taste this type of food, to do these things? We don't expose our children enough. We don't expose them enough. Now, I will say this. Being that we are a large family, we do not fly first class. I can't afford to put all of us, like, I thought about doing it this year, but I'm like, why would I spend all that money? And it's just a lot of money, like, so that's not our reality. What I will say is just the fact that they get on a plane and they get in the air and they see what it's like to leave. What does the geography look like? What does the topography look like? What does it look like when you are landing in a new space? What does that climate look like? What does it feel like on your skin? That's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of education you get. And that's not something you have to sit there and say, hey, now how does this feel on your skin, right? It's the exposure. You get out at the airport and then you get in a cab in some other location, you get to your destination. So let me just sum up by saying Black people need to travel more, but more importantly, we need to travel with our kids. That is some of the best education that they're going to get. Those are some of the best experiences that they're going to get. Okay. It is what it is. And when I think about how, like, there are times when my children, they reference something from where they've been, that lets me know that they're absorbing something, maybe not everything, but they have experiences that they can speak to. They have exposure. They've tried new foods. They've spoken to people. I remember when we took my son, my husband had to go to Canada to do some work for a while. And my oldest and my second oldest, my twins weren't born yet. I'm sitting here pushing the stroller, right? My second oldest he might have been a year. I don't know. He was a little nugget. And my oldest, he was 5 or 6. I can't remember. I don't remember, but I remember when we were in Canada. I remember my son, my oldest, every day. The people at the hotel, they were constantly greeting us in French, and my son was listening. And one day he repeated everything that they said to him. Now he didn't know French, but it was amazing. So the people, the bellhops, they were like so impressed with this little boy because he's like bonjour. Now he didn't know what he was saying, but kids pick up on that so easily, right? I remember taking him to the museum. I remember I was pushing my son, my second oldest, and he said, how they talk and they're pointing and had his little sippy cup. I think my mom was with me at the time, so my husband was working during the day, and I just thought it was so interesting how my oldest would pick up on these things. He just picked up on the foreign tongue. All right, so look, let me end it here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. This is kind of like low key today. This is what I originally wanted to talk about yesterday. I had a lot more energy and I was going to be a lot more lively about it until my kids really drove me crazy. Go ahead and subscribe. Give me the thumbs up. I appreciate anything you guys can do. Even if you leave a comment, I'm always interested in what you have to say, what your thoughts are. If there's a topic that you would like me to talk about. Take care.